We have a year-end tradition around here to have the panel make some predictions for the new year on a range of topics. And under the heading, often an error, but never in doubt, let's get to it. All right, Jason, start us off on politics.
Barack Obama, our twice-elected black president, will use his State of the Union address to lecture America on the persistence of racism.
And will he also talk about the issues, the responsibility in the black community?
No, he will not.
Okay. Susan.
Jason, you started out by talking about how Mitch McConnell is a deal maker. Maybe that was you, Chris, who said that. I think we'll see that the Republican-controlled Senate move within the first 6 weeks to confirm the nominations of Loretta Lynch to be Attorney General and Ashton Carter to be Secretary of Defense in a demonstration that they can get some things done. And I think after that, they may confirm no one else.
And does Ted Cruz throw a wrench into the gears?
Ted Cruz has the ability to throw a wrench into the gears, but Mitch McConnell is a guy who knows how to work the Senate rules, and he is really eager to demonstrate his skill at that.
Steve.
So earlier in the show, you showed polls showing that Jeb Bush was the Republican frontrunner and Hillary Clinton is the Democratic frontrunner. I think sitting here a year from now, as we're heading into Iowa, Jeb Bush will no longer be the Republican frontrunner, and Hillary Clinton will look surprisingly vulnerable as we get ready for voters to actually turn out.
And who will be the frontrunner on the Republican side?
Going into Iowa, maybe Scott Walker, maybe Rand Paul, maybe Ted Cruz. She said Scott Walker first, right?
And Hillary will look vulnerable just because she's been bad or because somebody else will have risen?
I think there's so little enthusiasm for Hillary among the Democratic base, as evidenced by her book launch, as evidenced by the responses to her when she gives speeches. Somebody's going to come, and some other candidate will have a moment. The question is that other candidate viable?
And who will that be?
I have no idea.
Well, so there are limits to this prediction. Bob, your prediction on politics.
Well, first of all, there's a theory of the case here, and that is that the Republicans are going to nominate somebody who's not a shouter, somebody who's soft, somebody who can govern. I think particularly on your poll, it showed Governor Kasich of Ohio at 2.5%. My God, he won by 18 points in Ohio. Blue state, red state. So I think it's either Paul Ryan or Rand Paul, who, interestingly enough, is not a shouter. I saw him in San Francisco at a tech conference a couple of months ago, and he charmed absolutely everyone. And so, you know, it's going to come from the Midwest, finally going to have its moment in Republican politics.
And we should point out you're a Midwest guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. And you.
As am I. There we go. All right. Economy. Let's move on to there. And I think we'd have to say, Jason, the economy ending the year strong.
I'm very bullish, Chris. Yes, 5% growth in the third quarter. Consumer spending is up. I could see GDP around 3% in 2015. Unemployment could get as low as 5%. And I think the Dow could reach as high as 19,000.
Wow. Yeah. Buy. Susan.
I would say we should curb the schadenfreude we're feeling about Russia's economic problems, because the decline of the Russian economy, which is incredibly serious, is going to be a big problem for European economies. That's going to have an effect on our growth next year as well.
So you're saying that Jason's wrong in his prediction?
I hope Jason is right, but I'm saying that this is while the economic news is generally good for the United States and we're doing well compared to the rest of the world, there is a cloud on the horizon.
Steve.
Yeah, I'm much more bearish than Jason is. I think if we see continued growth, I expect we'll see continued growth, but if we see that growth, it'll come in fits and starts. It won't be a natural. Certainly, we're not going to be growing from 5%. 3% sounds reasonable. I wouldn't be surprised if we came in below that. Unemployment may tick down, but I don't think this is likely to be a very good year for the economy.
Bob?
I forgot what I said. I mean, who knows?
What you said.
Okay.
You should have a note here. You said that Obama and Congress.
Yeah, I think their tax reform is the giant issue, and if there's ever any movement on that, and you want to make sense out of our economy, fix the taxing system, which is all screwed up. And there is a moment for both Obama and the Republicans to do something.
Okay. That was very interesting. I don't think I've ever had a prediction where the person forgets. You just write them down on a piece of paper.
Well, you asked for our predictions 2 weeks ago.
Anyway, that hasn't changed. Sports.
Johnny Manziel, the Cleveland Browns quarterback will continue to disappoint his fans, even when he comes back from his injury, and continue to prove his skeptics correct. I think he's headed for a career closer to Tim Tebow than Eli Manning.
Oh, my gosh. And I must say, this thing of the, show me the money, every time they sack him, they just, the defensemen do that right in his face. Susan?
Let's go Nats. I mean, the Nats had kind of a little disappointing this year.
Point out that's the Washington
Nationals. But they will make it to the World Series next year, first time since 1933. They will win the World Series, first time since 1924.
Finally, a bold prediction. I have to say also, the Washington Wizards, our basketball team, very strong, and John Wall, a potential MVP.
It's our year.
That's right. It's our year. And America's not going to be particularly happy about that. Steve?
Well, I'm not a Washington sports fan generally, but the Washington Capitals have been on a tear and I think are well positioned to make a run in the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's not my prediction. My prediction is that the Wisconsin Badgers will win the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Why are you laughing? This is a serious prediction.
Have we mentioned the fact that you come from Wisconsin?
I'm from Wisconsin. Look, I didn't pick the Packers to win the Super Bowl.
Well,
the Badgers, who I think are ranked 6th as of right now.
Does that show a lack of confidence in the Packers?
They've had a rough couple of games against Buffalo and Tampa over the past couple weeks. No, I think the Packers will do well and could make a Super Bowl run. I'm just very confident in the Badgers.
And I'm handing Bob, there's your prediction.
now, this one I remember because I did some reporting and I actually put some thought into it, and that is Danny Snyder, the owner of the Redskins, who's had past success in business, will realize he's part of the problem, and he's going to sell it. He's going to sell the Redskins, and the bidding war is going to be between Apple and Google. They are the ones that have the money. They're the only ones who could afford it. I mean, think of it, the Washington Apples.
Well, let me say, I think there is absolutely no chance of that happening. I know Mr. Snyder a little bit. He ain't selling. All right, we've got less than 2 minutes left. Entertainment. Let's go, guys.
Fewer and fewer people will go to the movies, and it will have nothing to do with hackers threatening to blow up theaters. That's my prediction. The future is home entertainment systems, streaming systems like Amazon.com and Netflix, and I think Hollywood needs to change its distribution model.
Susan.
I was bold on sports. I'll be bold on entertainment and say a Kardashian will post something outrageous on the internet.
You really think that's a prediction? That's like saying the sun is going to come up in the east.
It may be. I bet it turns out to be true.
All right. Steve?
Some Hollywood starlet or movie star will overdose this year, and that'll be tragic. That's not. I was just trying to be as bold as Susan.
Man, that's really a buzzkill here at the end of the year.
So my real one is new Star Wars movie will break all sorts of box office records, and it will happen regardless of whether the movie is good or bad.
And what's your prediction? Will it be good or bad?
I think the Star Wars junkies won't like it, and the rest of the movie-consuming public will.
Are you a Star Wars junkie?
No, I'm not.
Have you seen any of them?
I've seen, 4 of them.
Okay. There have been 6.
My kids are ready to get into Star Wars.
And with 30 seconds left, Bob, your prediction.
Something that happened this year, the hack on, are you going to show me my list on Sony, that is a giant problem. Steve knows, you talk to people in the intelligence world, there's no privacy. I think next year is going to be the year of the hack, and there will be many, many more.
And interestingly enough, Hollywood already engaging in some self-censorship. They've already killed another North Korea movie, or movie about North Korea. Thank you, panel.